Our YouTube. So we'll be talking about a small handful of things in this vlog, and they sort of combine as one together. So the things are the movie Shelby, the movie Splitsville, dark comedy style movies, A24, Neon, and the upcoming Edgar Allan Poe movie by A24. So let's dive in. To start, I use these two characters as great analogies. This is Joker, this is Flash. So combine them together, you get absolutely nothing but a dark comedy, which is sort of the impression I get that will be A24's Edgar Allan Poe movie. I've read a few of Edgar Allan Poe's literature and it's brilliant. I gotta start reading it again, and I'm gonna do that once this vlog ends. But it did have me curious because as I've been seeing movie trailers, I've seen the movie studio Neon, which I have seen pop up in movie ads, as well as A24 before I really knew about the A24 universe. But I feel like the Neon universe is somewhat similar in a way. I don't know. Movie studios, neither here nor there. I'm going to talk about two movies that I think combine well together. So I'll start by talking about Shelby, which is a horror movie, which is directed by a YouTuber that I'm quite familiar or fairly familiar with. I watched him a few years ago. Haven't watched him in a while, but it does warm my heart to see big movie YouTube studio fans getting their own movies. Looking at you. I did see the trailer and look quite interesting. Like definitely a horror movie for sure. And I read a headline saying that it was Chris's teenage dream to make a big horror movie. So I'm super happy for him. And the trailer definitely looks promising. It looks sort of mystery horror thriller film, which are genres you can't go wrong with. And it's also supposedly by the Neon Studio. But on the exact opposite side of the same coin, we have the movie Splitsville, which is definitely a comedy movie. And so what I've been seeing in this movie from its pre-reviews on that are featured in the trailer, that it's supposedly a super funny movie. When I first saw this trailer, I thought like, wow, this movie looks stupid because it's just a boring comedy or not really my niche. But as I've been hearing funny things about it, I'm thinking like sometimes it's good to put aside the serious movie aspect and just go to have a fun, good time, which I think this movie does well, as well as I get the impression as from a movie review saying it has supposedly a comedy with married woes that although I don't know anything about that, I think it could be funny and also good subtle nuanced ways to combine real life with fun movies. It goes into this character Flash, who is a funny character, but sometimes they do him wrong and make him too stupid and silly. Looking at you, DCU Cinematic Universe Flash. And after taking a second look at the trailer, well, not really a second look, but rather watching it in the theaters, I realized like Flash, maybe I judged it too harshly at first, that it was quite a funny and well done trailer. And the movie supposedly has great reviews, and I recognize some of the faces from this movie from other movies and TV shows, so it looks like it'd be fun. But one character that really stands out to me, I don't know the character's name, but I get the impression he's not too much older than me, probably about my age, portrayed by a character or an actor rather named Kyle, and the character just gives me funny vibes. And he's like, oh, I hope as mature as you guys when I get older. And then the other two characters say like they're not that much older than him and tell him to go to bed. That kind of reminded me of myself a little bit. On the flip side, we have Joker. This particular Joker is a masterpiece and brilliant, which kind of when you combine Joker and Flash, you get a dark comedy, which is what I'm getting the vibes of from A24's Edgar Allan Poe movie. I'm expecting it to be or hopefully it has as great cinematography and visuals as movies like Nosferatu, but definitely going to have a different storyline because it's a dark comedy, which I think works well with the overall A24 style, although it's hard at least for me to put like sort of a genre on that style. But if you know, I guess. But I am hoping that movie has like a great cast as well, because I don't think much is known about the movie other than that A24 is making an Edgar Allan Poe inspired comedy movie, which I think could be funny. I also combine this because I saw an ad for the movie Clueless, which I haven't seen, but it's coming back for its 30th year anniversary, and supposedly that movie is also based on a really old literature that was sort of a rom-com. And thinking about it, if A24 did a movie like that, it would definitely be a lot darker, but not too dark, which I'm kind of going in circles now. So I'll get back to the two movies that initially inspired this vlog. So although I haven't watched Chris's videos in a while, I do remember enjoying them when I was young and a few years ago, which I was actually a teen. And my teenage dream, I remember at some points, well, I don't know if it was my only teenage dream, but was making a Batman or Lego Cinematic DC Universe, which I do have some of the little bits and pieces of it, which I will be re-releasing next year. But until then, I'm really happy that YouTubers get their own movies like they did with Talk to Me and Bring Her Back, which were both very scary movies. And I'm expecting Shelby to be a little more up my alley because I like mystery sort of more than just pure graphic horror. But not that this doesn't look like it'll be a graphic horror. So well, like I said, on the opposite side we have the super funny, super comedic, somewhat lighthearted but somewhat dark movie Splitsville, which I'm expecting Edgar Allan Poe's or A24's Edgar Allan Poe movie to sort of follow something of that. And it would be funny if they brought like, a similar cast or similar actors and actresses to that, but now I'm just going in circles because I don't have a script. So I'll conclude this vlog by saying Joker and Flash are both great characters for their own rights, and same thing with these movies and these movie studios. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned more soon. Goodbye.